Today we're going to discuss a very important topic. Now this topic will greatly help our teachers for the incoming school year 2023-2024. So we will try to answer this question: how do we prepare for the classroom observation for school year 2023-2024? We all know that the classes has already started, and we wanted to really help our teachers for this year. No, we wanted to inform them that for this school year, we have already a memorandum issued. No, we have the Memorandum 8 series of 2023, which already provided for all the necessary guidelines, the objectives that we will be having for the next 3 years. Now, it's very important for the school heads to conduct a performance planning and assessment with the teachers so that they will be able to be apprised of all the necessary objectives and as to how to properly conduct the classroom observation. Now, this is really something that you really must do within the start of the school year, because as per DepEd Order 2 series of 2015, we are mandated to conduct a performance planning and commitment with our teachers. Now, during this time, you have to discuss clearly with your teachers the objectives and what are expected of them under each of these objectives. So today, we're going to help our teachers achieve a higher grade in their observation, in their demonstration, so that they will be able to really do their best and not just, get the highest grade, but really comply with the necessary standards. Okay, so it's important for us to review here what happens when you conduct your portfolio assessment. The very first thing that you need to do as a school head, as a principal, is really to apprise your teacher. You have to do this every year, because every school year, there might be a change in terms of the objectives that we will be using to evaluate our teachers based on the RPMS PPST. So you really have to discuss with your teacher the Philippine Professional Standards, as we can see here. And then you have to determine the corresponding tool, which is already provided by DepEd Memorandum 8 series of 2023. We are also going to guide our teachers to understand the tool. We have to help them understand what are the standards by which we will be grading them. And as much as possible in this first part, we have to make sure that our teachers fill up their self-assessment tool. Okay, so by the way, please stay with us all throughout the end of the video, because we will be sharing to you how you're going to download the self-assessment tool that we have created. Although, I would just like to tell everyone that the central office is already preparing, creating their own version, which will allow you to summarize. The tool that they will be creating will allow us to summarize all the ESAT of all teachers all around the Philippines. However, since we are doing our planning and commitment and many teachers are requesting for a tool that can help them assess themselves while waiting for the tool to be developed by the office, we have here a tool we have created to help our teachers with the ESAT. Anyway, you can create your own tool. It's there in the manual. You can check on. Feel free to check on the video description. We have there the instructions as to how you can download the RPMS manual. But we just want to share to everyone. We have created a tool that will help you with your self-assessment. And let's also understand, later on we'll upload another video that will help you understand what is really the essence of the self-assessment tool, because sometimes we just fill it up for the sake of filling it up. It's not really just for the sake of filling it up. It's for reflection. It helps you understand what are your weaknesses and how you go about doing your performance for the whole school year. It's a point of discussion between you and your rater, your principal, or the master teacher by which you are under. So we have to understand each of the indicators, and we have to apprise our teachers. I can't emphasize this enough. If we fail to emphasize and to apprise our teacher as to how they will be graded, we will lose the right to demand performance in the later part. because we haven't apprised them, no, as to what are the standards, as to what is expected of them. And sometimes this results to a lot of problems in the field. Sometimes we just poorly rate our teachers. We rate them high even if they haven't really achieved the necessary standards which is expected for our PMS PPST. Or we may also grade them poorly even if they have already performed very well. And third is we might be, we might again lose the right to demand high performance from our teachers. So, we have to do this in the first part of the school year as much as possible. So let's discuss together. And again, our source here, we are very transparent here. No, we are not making up stories about how you're going to do your work. You can check DepEd Memorandum 8 Series of 2023. It's clearly stipulated there as to how our teachers should be graded and what are the objectives that we need to really use for this school year. We are now in school year 2023-2024. And today, again, we are going to discuss what are the objectives for this school year. So we are now in year 2 as per the context of DepEd Memorandum 8 Series of 2023. We are now in year 2. So in year 2, these are the objectives that we have. Notice that the one in asterisk are repeated. We have them last year under school year 2022-2023, 1.1, 1.2. We will discuss each one of them later on. Okay? There are 15 objectives here, including the plus factor, but only 9 of them will be used for your COT. Namely, objective 1 to 8 and 10. And 10. So the other objectives here are non-classroom observable. You will just have to really submit your set of MOVs for each. Again, we would like to help our teachers know what are the techniques that you can do in order for you to achieve these classroom observation tools. Classroom observation indicators that you can do inside the classroom, and how will you be able to achieve the highest possible grade. Okay, and by the way, school heads who are listening, principals who are listening, please take note that your basis for grading each of these these indicators are purely based on standards. You have to revisit your manual as to the rubrics. Now, we will be presenting that so that both school heads and both teachers will be able to be apprised as to how you're going to really perform. What is really the level of standard that we expect to see. Okay, so let's start with this. But before that, let me just present here the arrangement of the objectives that you have to do for the whole school year 2023-2024. Take note, we are in year 2. Now again, the source here is DepEd Memorandum 8 Series of 2023. Just like to inform everyone, we have to really look at the memorandum and the issuance. I've seen a lot of bloggers uploading content which are sometimes erroneous and are not really following as to the issuances. So we are transparent here. We wanted you to be informed about the memorandum. I would just like to suggest, you read the memorandum before believing anything. You can listen to them, but please, look at the DepEd memorandum so that you'll be guided. Now, in the first grading period, we only have 10 weeks. The first grading period has already started. Take note of that. And you have to do your classroom observation. You have 10 weeks to set an appointment with your school head since this is scheduled. And weeks, I tell you, they come very fast. They come very fast, and before you knew it, it's already the periodical test, and you have to do assessment, and then you haven't scheduled your classroom observation. Now, take note of this. Under DepEd Memorandum 8 Series of 2023 and under the guidelines of DepEd Order 2 Series of 2015, you have to really do your classroom observation within the grading period unless there is a fortuitous event or you have to delay the observation. There are many mechanisms that are given by the DepEd issuances. First, you can do it face-to-face. If you cannot do it face-to-face, you do it online. If you cannot do it online, then you have to schedule it within a locked session. But you have to do it within the first grading period, unless if it's really a fortuitous event or there are things that are beyond our control. We have now to seek the permission of the superintendent. So you wouldn't want to do that, no? So as much as possible, we would like to inform the school heads, the principals, the teachers. No, you set a schedule already and then stick to that schedule, unless there is a very something very uncontrollable in that context, which you have to really delay the observation. So only one observation for the first grading period, but we will be covering only 6 indicators. No, so in the first grading, take note, you have 1 to 6. No, so later on, please take note that you will have a different classroom observation tool for the first grading as compared to the second grading, because in the second grading you still have 6, but you will now focus on classroom observation indicator number 7 to 9. Now, so this is what we are trying to show here, that for first grading and third grading you have the same indicator. For second and fourth, you have the same indicator. So make sure you use the right COT. Now, why is this being done? Imagine you will be doing your demonstration. The thing about your demonstration in the first grading is you wanted to create a lesson plan, which will embody, or you wanted to create a demonstration which will embody all the 6 indicators from classroom observation indicator number 1 to 6. So it is already, since there are 9, and we cannot, considering the time, we might be given 60 minutes or 1 hour of time for observation, for demonstration. Now, do you expect that you'll be able to demonstrate the 9 indicators all at the same time for just 1 hour? Of course not. So that's why you have to look at it in this context. You only have to really prove the 6 indicators. And the thing here, when you do your planning, I would just like to inform everyone, you really have to prepare for your classroom observation or demonstration. Try to revisit the depth and order on lesson plan. You have to really create a detailed lesson plan. So we will be uploading a video on that, as to what particular format of the lesson plan. You have to look at a detailed lesson plan. You have to be very detailed about it, because remember, part of the evidences is really your annotation. And your annotation, I tell you, will help the principal or the observer or the master teacher, observer or rater, to know if you have really hit the target, or the target indicators. Later on, we will look at the features of practice for each of the indicator. So it will help if all these objectives are embodied in your lesson plan, and you have a detailed lesson plan, so that you can just annotate the lesson plan and place exactly where each of the objectives are being hit. Okay? Because remember, in portfolio preparation, the one that you'll be attaching, you can actually attach your lesson plan as proof. So you are hitting 2 birds at the same time. You're allowing the master teacher, the rater, to know exactly where you have hit that particular objective. And then number 2, you also allow your lesson plan to become a means of verification later on. Now, I tell you, this is, I would just like to give a salute to the DepEd officials who have really created this, because it really simplified the work for our teachers. Remember, the lesson plan itself is already a means of verification. So you just have to really, follow this one. Now, one of the techniques I've used before when I was a principal is that I always tell my teachers, you have 6 indicators, right? So in these 6 indicators that you wanted to really perform during the classroom observation, you have to prepare 6 copies of your lesson plan. So you really have to duplicate it already. So I tell them, if there are 6 indicators, then prepare 6 copies. Copies, you just have to really photocopy it. And then for each of the 6 copies, for example, for classroom observation indicator number 1, 1.1, 1.2, you write there exactly where can I see in your demonstration where PPST 1.1.2 will be observed. Okay, and why do you think you have embodied that in that particular part of your lesson? Okay, so in the next copy, you also write there 1.4.2, this COI 2 or Classroom Observation Indicator 2, and try to annotate. No, when I say annotate, you just have to really write at the margins and say, here, this is objective 2, and I have embodied this by, you have to explain, in your own words, why this particular a part of your lesson plan embodies this particular objective. Now, don't worry, later on I'll explain to you each of these objectives and how you can achieve each of these objectives. I'm just sharing this to you for you to see exactly how you're going to go about. So I hope you have already imagined, no? Since I have to prove 6 indicators in my demonstration, how am I going to do it? Now, that's the first thing, no? You have to prepare 6 copies of your detailed lesson plan. Now, if you want to know how to create a detailed lesson plan, now we have a depth order on that, no? And definitely I have prepared a template with me as to how we can help you with that, so that you will have a very detailed lesson plan. No, you really have to be very detailed about it. You need to talk about what are the questions you have to ask, what is the procedure as to the activities, and then put a space in the margins for you to annotate later on. Okay, so you see, for the second grading, you do the same. No, you prepare 6 copies of your lesson plan, but this time, instead of using 1, 2, and 3, instead of putting their objective 4, 5, and 6, you target 7, 8, 9. So that's the beauty of that for the second grading. But as of the moment, you have to think about 2 things. First, for this grading period, I have to schedule a COT with my teacher, with my principal or master teacher. Remember, there are many of you. So in the perspective of the principal, he has to budget his time. Okay, there are schools with, 80 teachers, no? Then there is only 1 principal or 10 master teachers. I don't know. So you have to really agree on this. No, these are topics that you have to discuss in your performance planning and commitment for the school year, and this has to be conducted. Hopefully, you'll be able to conduct this within this week or before the opening of the classes. During the brigada, you could have conducted this already, but this is the proper way to do it. Now, you have to explain to the teachers exactly how they are going to achieve the 6 indicators in the context of their demonstration. So let's look at each one of it, no? But later on, as you can see here, there are 9, no? So, but remember, this is the COT for the school year. There are 9 indicators, but for the first grading, you are going only to grade 1, 2, 3, and then 7, 4, 5, 6. Do not include 7, 8, 9. And then for the next grading period, no, in the second grading period, you can start 1, 2, 3, and then 7, 8, 9 only. So 4, 5, 6, you write not applicable because it's already second grading period. You have to be guided by this, no? Some of the principal, no, might just grade all throughout, no? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You are to observe only 6 indicators, no? You will know if that principal is not a subscriber in our channel if they haven't done that. Okay, but by the way, it's not the instruction coming from this channel, but it is according to the issuance. You read the Memorandum 8 series of 2023. Now, principals who are listening, no, you are blessed because you are listening, but it's very important for principals to be at least ahead in terms of reading the issuances, no? Mula sa mga our teachers, no, will say na they know better than us. We have to really know the issuances and be aware of all these instructions from DepEd Memorandum 8 series of 2023. Okay, so this time, under the RPMS manual, if you don't have a copy of this, please again look at DM8 series of 2023. This is there. No, you can look at it clearly. No, so let's start with the proficient teachers first. Okay, so let's describe when you grade a teacher 7. No, that's the highest. You visualize a teacher who is able to connect. No, the teacher uses well connected pedagogical aspects of the indicator to create an environment that addresses individual and group learning goals. No, that's the highest. No, teacher is able to integrate, no, the pedagogical aspects, no, and then create an environment that addresses the individual and group learning goals. Remember that. No, so this is what we embody when we get 7. Okay. A little lower than that is that the teacher uses well-connected pedagogical aspects of the indicator consistently, aligned with student development that supports students to be successful learners. Now, let's look at integrating. No, the primary feature for integrating is that the teacher is capable of seeing. The teacher is capable of looking at the individual differences, and then the group learning goals. Okay, but in number 6, in consolidating, if you grade them 6, they are able to well connect. No, they are already very good at it, and they are even consistent about it. Okay, with student development that supports students to be successful learners. No, that's consolidating. Okay, and little lower than that is applying. No, the teacher demonstrates a range of associated pedagogical aspects of the indicator that usually align with the learner's developmental needs. Now, take note of this word. No, usually. Okay, not all the time. Okay, so he or she knows pedagogical aspects of the indicator that usually align with the learner's developmental needs, but not really at all times. No, and then we have a developing teacher. The teacher, no, you grade 4. No, the teacher demonstrates a range of associated pedagogical aspects. No, she is still capable of providing a range of pedagogical aspects in the indicator that only sometimes align with the learner's developmental needs. So here we see, that what is being emphasized is the ability to understand deeply each of the learners. Okay, and then in the lowest level or organizing, even if this is the lowest level, here the teacher demonstrates a limited range of loosely associated pedagogical aspects. He knows or she knows a lot of, particular pedagogical aspects, but this is very limited. No, it's very limited, and it's not really in such a way that takes into context the differences of the learners. At the same time, look at the group learning goals. So as you go up higher into level, we see that our teachers are trying to look at each of the individual differences of the learners, and trying to adjust to each of the uniqueness of each of the learner. Now, why is this important? We all know that in education, it's one of the most intriguing, area of research and science, because in education you cannot really approach learning in a unidimensional way. No, it's full of it's exactly a maze. No, a maze of a lot of approaches. No, what might work for this class might not work for another set of students. No, so because as we all know, human beings are the most complex creatures ever. No, they are very hard to understand. So learning is very complex. What might be very meaningful and something that might allow the child to learn in that particular aspect might not be something engaging and a learning experience for another child. So we need a teacher who is able to adjust and capable of creating this kind of environment that takes into consideration the unique differences of each of the learner. So we just have to understand that. This is the summary. Okay, let's look at indicator 1. Now, if you're the school head, you should be able to master. Please take note of this. It's not just because the teacher is very good in demonstration, very well versed, that you will be grading them 7. there are features of practice that you have to understand deeply, and there are keywords that you have to understand. So the objective one here applies knowledge of content within and across curriculum teaching areas. So what happens here? Now, the teacher demonstrates in the lowest level. Here we see that the teacher demonstrates minor content errors either in the presentation of the lesson or in responding to the learner's questions or comments. Now, remember, these are minor. No, there might be a little bit of mistakes, no, on the part of the teacher. So that's 3. No, so here exactly you have to look at the features of practice. The teacher indicates some awareness of the ideas of the same discipline that are connected to the lesson but does not make solid connection. Because remember, in indicator 1, what we wanted to do is that this is already a repeated indicator from the last school year. Okay, so we are trying to envision a teacher who is able to connect the concepts. The ability to associate it with other fields, other subjects is a very important skill. You know why? Because the more you associate something with other subject or learning areas or other aspects in life, you will be able to understand it deeper and better. Okay? So we wanted a teacher who is able to facilitate that connection among the learners. But sometimes, we see that teachers are able to connect, but there are minor errors as to the connection. Okay, this is not as we would call a solid connection. Okay, so again, in objective 1, we wanted to see a teacher who is able to connect the idea to other fields. Okay, it says here within and across curriculum teaching areas. No, for instance, you have a topic on science. No, how would you be able to connect this to DRRM? No, disaster risk reduction. How would you be able to connect this to their lives? No, to mathematics, to health. Okay, so these are possible connections. But if the teacher demonstrates minor errors as to that connection and it's not a solid connection, and it doesn't really create that particular aha moment for the learners, then you have to grade them 3. Okay? Again, the context here is minor. Even if it's a minor, you have to grade them 3. But in 4, we see that the teacher demonstrates accurate knowledge of key concept. No, so you know that the teacher now is accurate both in the presentation of the lesson and in responding to the learner's question or comments. So here, 4 pa lang, you will know that the teacher is at level 4 when he or she is accurate. The lesson content displays coherence. Now, there is coherence in the way he or she presents it, and the teacher attempts to make connections across curriculum content areas if appropriate. So here, in the features of practice, you have to see that the teacher clearly explains concepts and makes no content errors. There are no content errors here for level 4. The content appears to be accurate and his focus shows awareness of the ideas and structure of the discipline. The teacher already knows a lot about the topic, and the teacher demonstrates factual knowledge of subject matter and attempts to connect content across disciplines. So take note of these keywords here. There are connections being done already. No, there are connections, but we call these attempts to make connections, and there are no errors. No, as to the concepts, because you cannot connect an idea with another field if you have inaccuracy in your understanding. So you will see if the teacher is in level 4, if that teacher is accurate already, as to the knowledge and the foundation of that particular topic, and the concepts are well understood. You sense that he or she understands it very well, and there is an attempt to connect it with other subject areas. Okay, so 4 pa lang, the teacher already demonstrates accuracy. Okay, but what is 5, and the higher level? The teacher demonstrates accurate and in-depth knowledge of most concepts in the presentation of the lesson and in responding to the learner's questions in a manner that attempts to be responsive to student developmental learning needs. Okay, so here we see that the teacher already demonstrates accurate and in-depth knowledge of most concepts. Okay, so here we see that in a higher level, no, the teacher already has in-depth knowledge, very deep, no? So just imagine 5 pa lang, deep na pala, no? 4, very accurate. In 5, very deep knowledge na of most concepts in the presentation of the lesson. And you sense this as the teacher responds to the questions of the learners. No, you wanted really to allow that environment for the learners to ask questions and attempts to be responsive to student developmental learning needs. This is underlined. Did you notice that? No. So just imagine this: how you're going to demonstrate this in your classroom. No, if you sense that the teacher is the one talking, no, principals, don't take note of this, and teachers, you wanted the learners to really talk more. No, you want them to ask questions. So you have to create that demonstration in order for you to achieve objective 1. Objective 1 pa lang ni. You wanted them to really ask questions, because how would you grade a teacher 5 if there are no responses from the learners? No? Because it says here, attempts to be responsive. So you want the questions coming from the learners, and you wanted to see and demonstrate that the teacher is capable of responding to the learning needs of that particular child. Now, how are you going to do this? Now, if you look at RA 9155, RA 10533, you will see that it is mandated by law to make our instruction inquiry-based. No? So, it's not really a pure lecture in the part of the teacher. No, gone are the days where we become the major source of information. We want our learners to become co-creators of learning and knowledge. So, when you say inquiry-based, you wanted the child to really be curious. And as the job of the teacher here is to arouse that level of curiosity. And in this case, no, if you're able to design this particular environment wherein you bring out that curiosity among your learners, then you'll be able to reach 5. No, grade. So the teacher makes connections across curriculum content areas if appropriate. So here, let's look at the features of practice. The teacher displays comprehensive understanding. So kanina, it's clearly explained concepts lang. But here, it's comprehensive understanding of the concepts and structure of disciplines. And the teacher addresses content accurately and makes connections across discipline. Imagine this, these are the features of practice, and this is only a level 5. No? So here, we see what makes it different from 4. So if I'm the principal, if the teacher is the one talking more, and there's no inquiry-based engagement, there is no curiosity in the part of the learners, then of course, you will grade that particular teacher 4. But if there is already an interaction, and then the teacher is capable of attending to the questions and the learning needs of the learners, because it's inquiry-based, then you'll be able to grade the teacher 5. No? And then already a very good connection across the curriculum, because as a teacher, you have to connect these ideas to different aspects in their lives and even across subject areas. Okay? So here, what is higher than this? No? Can you imagine something higher than 5? Of course, there's still 6 and there's still 7. So let's see. In 6, the teacher demonstrates accurate, in-depth, and broad knowledge of all concepts in the presentation of the lesson. So imagine that. No, a while ago, we see that it's accurate and in-depth. Laom na siya. And it's very correct. No, it's very deep. But this time in 6, you really see that there is an accuracy, there is depth, and there is a broad knowledge of all concepts in the presentation of the lesson. And remember this, and in responding to learners' questions in a manner that is responsive, there is what is added here, to the learner's developmental needs and promotes learning. Meaning, in number 6, we already see that the teacher, as he arouses that curiosity among the learners, at the same time, there is the ability here of the teacher to look at the differences of each of the child. Okay? So how should this be embodied inside the classroom? Diba? We usually profile our learners. Okay? So you really have to profile your learners ahead of time. In order for you to demonstrate level 6, you have to show to your demonstrator that you have already a profile. And that's the reason why you have grouped them as to their groupings. Either you have found a way for all the groups to be balanced. No, you write this in your lesson plan. You have already planned as to how the groupings will be done in order to make sure that the learners are equally distributed in terms of ability, in terms of developmental needs. Okay, or you want to interact them to you want them to interact in order for them to help each other, and then you responded to them based on their developmental needs. No, so what is different in the first one is that in level 5 is that you are responsive, no, to their developmental learning, but here you in number 6 you already consider their developmental needs. No, so you are already responsive. And in such a way, you notice that this will promote learning. Even the disengaged or even those of lower levels will be able to learn, no, from your class as you integrate these concepts within and across curriculum teaching areas. Now here, the teacher makes meaningful connections across curriculum content areas. In level 5, you just make connections across curriculum content areas, but here it's already meaningful. Meaning, you see that aha moment from the learners. No, as you go higher level, no, notice that it's more learner centered. No, we see that you, as the demonstrator there, and as the observer, you need to observe that the learners are really learning from the ability of the teacher to connect the ideas across curriculum areas. Meaning, as he relates it to other subjects, as he relates it to other concepts, you see that the learners are learning in front of your eyes. Okay, so that's level 6. Remember, that's still level 6. We still have level 7. No? So here in level 6, the teacher displays extensive knowledge of content. Okay, the teacher displays extensive, very extensive. So if you will rate the teacher 6, no, that means that anything you ask about that topic, he or she can answer. Okay, so I'm just wondering why some principals are already rating each of the teachers 7 when we ask them as to that particular topic. Some of the teachers are not really well versed. No, maybe sometimes our principal are not really reading the features of practice here. Maybe, no? But there are still others who are very good at it. Now, I would just like to make this clear, no? You have to really understand the standards. Now, because if you just give a grade to the teacher, you give them 7, that will make them happy now. But that will make them sad later. Because, they are not really practicing the features of practice being given to them. And even if you grade them 5 or 4, as long as it's accurate and you're consistent, no, our teachers will not get angry about that. No, you should have consistency lang as to your standard. Okay? Because our teachers also wanted to learn. No, they wanted to learn. If you give them 7, no, that will be additional pressure to them. But if you really want to grade them 7, then teach them ahead of time how to get 7. No, you have to discuss this with them ahead of time. Okay, so if you do that, no, you are helping truly, level up our educational system. Okay, so the most awaited part. No, let's talk about level 7. The teacher applies high level of knowledge of content and pedagogy. So here we see in 7, if that teacher is at the highest level, no, for indicator 1, we're still talking about indicator 1. That teacher has high levels of knowledge, at the same time an expert in pedagogy. No, that creates a conducive learning environment that enables an in-depth and sophisticated understanding of the teaching and learning process to meet individual or group learning needs within and across curriculum content areas. This is now the highest level. A good balance between knowledge as to content, bright si teacher, at the same time, very bright, at the same time, an expert in the pedagogy. No? So, the level of connection is very high. And then, here, take note of this. Two things. Individual and group learning needs. So, he or she takes into context the differences of each of the learners in terms of their context and situation. He or she made a profiling of the learners ahead of time. And then he adjusts his ability to make connections based on the differences of each of the group. Okay? So this ability to do this is the highest level, the distinguished part. No? Here, the teacher applies extensive knowledge of content beyond his or her area of specialization. Just can imagine, no? The teacher is a genius here. No? Because he can really connect, no? And extensive knowledge beyond what is expected, beyond his or her area of specialization. She's a math major, but she knows a lot about math. She knows a lot about English. No, she knows a lot about health. Okay, so beyond her area of specialization, and very important second practice here. The teacher motivates learners to investigate the content area to expand their knowledge and satisfy their natural curiosity. This is what I'm talking about. No, our instructions should be inquiry based. Now, these are features of practice. You really wanted to see that the learners are very curious. No, they are very motivated. They are excited. So usually, I would just like to share this. Before, when I was a teacher, when I do my demonstration, I usually do this amazing race, a guided inquiry approach, wherein I allow the learners, I set up an environment, even put notes under their chair. It's like an amazing race wherein they'll be able to answer these questions, using the guide, that I have provided them. Okay, amazing race. I call this an amazing race wherein each of the learners will go to one station to another, and they have to answer these questions on their own. No internet, no internet, no problem. What I do is that I usually use printed materials already. I put them all over the classroom, hide them across all areas, and there's a riddle there, or a question that will arouse their curiosity to get the answers for those questions. And all the answers are just available inside the classroom. They just have really to look for the answers. And here you see that our learners are very curious to get answers. Another style among teachers, in inquiry base, is that usually they start their classes with a bait. Usually they do magic in the start of classes, demonstrate a magic trick, and then ask the teacher, the learners to find answers, to this magic trick. Try to decode the magic trick, and they really become very curious. They would tend to find the answers to these questions. So here, indicator 1 pa lang, we have to really see. This is a very heavy indicator. If you don't see the 2 features of practice there, do not grade the teacher 7. Your teachers might hate you for now, but they will love you later. Tell them all about this features of practice, because if they will be able to master this, this can be done. It may take time. Anyway, the demonstration is scheduled at the same time. But what we are teaching our teachers here are the skills, the features of practice. We wanted to see them really translate from just pure lecturing to inquiry-based learning. And we want our teachers to become co-creators of learning, facilitators of learning. So here in indicator 1 pa lang, 7, all these 2 features of practice should be embodied. Okay? So, friends, we have already discussed indicator 1. We will try to discuss another indicator on our next video. No, I hope you have learned something. In the next video, we'll talk about indicator 2 and we will share more techniques. But do not forget to support our channel. We are hoping you will get really the highest grade in your demonstration. So don't forget to subscribe to this channel and like, and of course share this to your co-teachers, even to your principal, so that he or she will know how to grade you better. No? And then don't forget to subscribe for more updates. No? So here in Learning with Doc Levs, we are here. No? Our advocacy is to help our teachers really level up their learning, at the same time level up their performance, and all this we do for the sake of the future generation, our learners. I'll see you in the next video, and don't forget again to subscribe and share. Look at the video description. Don't forget to like our Facebook page so that you will be updated on the latest updates and issuances here in the Department of Education. Thank you, everyone.